Hi, Alexander. Great to have you here. Thanks for making the time for this conversation.
Hi, Theodoros. Happy to be here as well. Excited to share some news about Ronin and why we decided to partner with Chainlink and this important milestone.
No, of course, happy to dive deeper. There is a lot of history that Ronin as an ecosystem has, a lot of history, of course, in our partnership in the earlier days and now as well going forward. So many things to unpack here. But
Hmm.
before we go any further, I would like to hear from you, like your story and Axis and Ronin's story as a result of that.
Sure. I mean, yeah, for those who don't know me, I'm Alexander. I'm one of the co-founders of Sky Mavis, creators of Axie Infinity and the Ronin Network. Sky Mavis, I'm the chairman, so I lead everything on the commercial side pretty much. I used to work a little bit on the community and product, but now I'm very focused on building out the Ronin ecosystem. So whenever you work with game studios, for example, that falls under my purview. The story of Axie and Ronin is one of exponential growth. We've been building for close to 7 years now. And I think everyone knows the Axie story about how it blew up, but it's probably not as widely known that we had been working for many, many years, shipped a couple of games even before it really blew up. So I think it's just a story of determination and grit, and that's also where Ronin network comes into play because before we had Ronin, we had most of our assets on Ethereum, and we were constrained by the gas fees there to really build out the game economy and what's happening on chain. But with our own blockchain, we were then able to scale moving forward. So that's basically what we want to provide for other game developers too. And we believe that the reason why they will want to work with us is our deep experience with game developers. That's basically it. Like we're very historically been very, very focused on the game developer ecosystem.
No, that's absolutely the case. Like me following you guys for a very long time as well. You effectively created play to earn, right? You are the leaders in the space, in this paradigm. You created a lot of best practices for the space. Now, let me deep dive a bit more into that. Um, if you were to say Ronin's approach on Web3 gaming, you kind of alluded bits and pieces there. What would you say makes it so successful? Is it publishing, distribution? Is it the community? What is it?
Yeah, so I would say it's a combination of all of those things, and in addition, kind of a product stack which is tailored for game developers. But I think if we start a little bit about game selection and curation and what are kind of the teams that we are looking for, I think we have to start with the experiences that we had with Axie. What we think is working and where we think we are in the meta game, I guess you could call it, of the Web3 development cycle. So I think in every sort of cycles, let's say it's in internet history, if it's in game development history, you're always constrained by technological demands and technological requirements. And for blockchain, development, that really is no different. So when we started out with Axie, we were constrained by Ethereum, the amount of transactions we could have on chain. And I think that also limited the amount of design space that we could have for Axie. So we actually put a lot of our things off chain, which is like the game logic, for example. But we had some of the economic aspects on chain. And I would say for Axie, where we innovated the most is probably not on the game design aspect of it, but it's rather on the economic aspect of it, kind of using the unique benefits that Web3 enables to build something new that really the world had never experienced before. So looking at Axie, that's really the main innovation. And I think that it really kind of speaks to where we are in the game development cycle of Web3. I think there's a lot of learnings that we need to take on the game economy side to make this work at scale. So looking at Axie once again, it was explosive growth. Breeding actually used, I think, VRF at one point as well. Chainlink's kind of Oracle service to ensure that creation of new Axies were fully randomized. But that's kind of just a sidestep here, just chilling Chainlink a little bit on that one. But I think that it really is just the first step of what is possible when you utilize Web3 and kind of crypto in it. And I think game economies is really the most constraining piece here, because if you look at Web2 development, the graphical kind of innovations that we've had there over the past 20 years is pretty amazing. But the economic innovation that we had with Web3 is really, really only at the starting line. So that's why when we look at Axie and other games that we actually want to partner with, we think it's quite difficult to combine the really, really heavy graphical innovations and those things with the early stages of economic innovation, because the likelihood of the economic innovations needing more and more fine-tuning, iterations, understanding is so heavy. So that means that the games that go to market, like Axie, let's say like Pixels, which went from 300,000 or 300 users from when they migrated to Ronin to over 700,000, they need to focus on the economic innovations. So when that stops working, you need to pivot, you need to change things. And if the game cycle or the game development side of it is too slow because it's too focusing on the graphics, that means that it's very, very difficult to kind of find those two kind of pieces together, which then is really what made Axie explosive. So to kind of summarize, the game economy side and the game design side, all of these things need to combine into making a new user experience, which then again will take us into the stratosphere when it comes to onboarding every single person in the world into blockchain games. And I think that's also what might create jobs for the future for hundreds of millions of people if these game economies are designed correctly.
The vision is actually very enticing and very ambitious, which is what every team in our space should be doing. We should be looking to change the existing paradigm, which is great to see from your team as well. Now, you mentioned very briefly in the seal you mentioned about the original start of our partnership with Chainlink VRF. Now we're entering into a new stage with Chainlink CCIP. Could you tell us a bit more about how this new step in our partnership came about? Give us a bit more context as to what you were looking to achieve, looking at your existing bridge infrastructure, and effectively how does CCIP fit the needs that you had outlined for your own bridge?
Yeah, so that also goes back into some of the ways that we make product at Sky Mavis. So when we started building, as I said, it's over 6 years ago, we needed to make almost everything ourselves. And the same thing actually goes for the Ronin Bridge. It was self-made. And a part of what we are the best at, I would say, is innovation and iteration. It's not necessarily long-term security. And I really think we got punished for that as a company, now 2 times, which is why we really need to make sure that this cannot happen again. So that we want to stay in our lane and innovate where we think we have the most impact, where we think that we can onboard the most users. And that's just not the bridge at all. So then we started looking into, okay, which other providers in the space do we think can provide the service that we are missing the most, which is security. That's just basically it. We have the users, we have the TVL. We don't need any of the kind of help there. We can provide most of those things ourselves. The biggest thing that we need here is security. And if we can focus on that aspect from the partners and that we're looking for, then that's the only thing that kind of matters. So, meeting you in real life and thinking also Sergey, and I think was really great, understanding a little bit more about CCIP, Chainlink's history, of course, being the Oracle service provider for the entire space for so long, always securing, I don't know, billions is really at the core of what we needed. And then from there on, it was a voting process where we let the community or the validators of Ronin take part in this process. And from there on out, the implementation is basically on the validator set and the rest of Sky Mavis to implement the Chainlink CCIP as that was voted in as the favorable provider, which is something that I'm also excited about. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit about the history and how we ended up here.
No, thank you for that. And I think context as well and what you're looking to achieve through this partnership is very helpful. I have to say before I tackle the next point you kind of brought in my mind, that have been involved in many of these processes already. You guys have done a tremendous job in creating a very thoughtful process, a very detailed process as well on how things should be evaluated in similar situations. So I can fully commend you on that and the team as well. You really set the stage and the benchmark of how this process should look. Now, one thing you mentioned that triggers my next question. You said that what you care about is finding the ways and making the advancement that can bring more people into gaming. you look to partner with us for the security aspect for the bridge, but now that resource will be something that we provide. That functionality will be there from us. What are you looking now from your perspective as you're looking to scale the Ronin ecosystem further? What are your next steps now that this part is settled?
Yeah, so over the past few years, we've had so many different teams that wanted to partner with us from the gaming side, from DeFi, from all sorts of other applications in the space, because what they are looking for is distribution. They really want access to the players that we have, and we've been very careful with letting the right partners come and play basically with the community. But what that has also done is set a kind of a maximum to the growth that we have at Ronin. So I really think it's time to be more open to the entire space, and that will happen first with DeFi. And I think DeFi is one of the cornerstones of crypto. It's one of the products that have product market fit clearly. I just met Hayden from Uniswap, and we were talking about the stories of Uniswap enabling players from Axie to receive some money from the gameplay that they had, because they used Uniswap, the protocol, to swap their tokens from SLP into ETH and to USDC, and then spend that money in real life shop. I mean, that is really one of the visions for crypto, and the impact that had. He was also quite moved when we were saying that people got the airdrop from Uniswap, and it really changed many people's lives, particularly in emerging nations like Philippines. And I think that now we're getting into the stage where we really want some of these primitives on Ronin, and I'm really excited to work more closely with Chainlink on this, to kind of find the right partners, making sure that they have the security that they need. And from there on out, maybe even open Ronin fully, so that anyone can tap into the network that we have, and from there on kind of grow the ecosystem massively, and make sure that people see that Ronin is not only for gaming, but that's really where we started. I think the potential for Ronin is to support every single person in the world who wants to do on-chain transactions. I think that's where we are headed. But starting with gaming is a little bit of how we saw this kind of growing the pie as big as it could be. We need to make sure that we have the foundation set, and from there on we will grow and grow and grow, because the users that we have on Ronin, they actually want to interact with the broader like crypto ecosystem, and that means DeFi, that might mean meme coins, that might mean everything else that we actually don't have, because we're so closed for now. But I think now we're heading into a new direction with Ronin, and I'm super excited about it. And I'm really excited to have Chainlink as an early partner for a more open Ronin.
No, we're excited. When you shared that vision when we met in person, I found it very enticing, very interesting, and we'd love to, of course, continue our partnership there and contribute from our side. Are there some, as you look at this future, are there some key initiatives that you have in mind that you want to perhaps give us an early view of?
No, I think
asking for some alpha, effectively.
Yeah, no, it's a little bit hard for me to be very specific about this, but TVL is definitely something that we are interested in growing, because we see a lot of particularly degens kind of pricing blockchains based on the TVL. Right now the TVL on Ronin is sub 100 million last I checked, maybe a little bit 100, 120. It obviously fluctuates. Depends on how you look at it. If you only look at Ethereum and USDC, it's different. If you look at with other tokens, it's over billions. So I think that or with unit kind of AXS, Ronin, SLP, Apeiron, Pixels, then we're talking in the billions. So I think people have all sorts of different measurements of TVL. So we're interested in kind of making it known to the broader crypto space, the amount of traction that we have. Ronin has over 1 million daily on-chain active wallets on like any given day, usually anything up to 3 million monthly actives, which I think is still quite small to where we want to be. But compared to many of these other chains, which are more ghost chains, I think, our really the edge that we have is distribution and community. And we've been very kind of pragmatic about technology as well. We think that the only thing that matters really in crypto is the people who use this tech rather than the tech itself. And I think Bitcoin is really the proof of that. Right? If tech was everything that mattered, Bitcoin wouldn't be here today. So the people that really care about Ronin, the community, they came from Axie, they stay for gaming and for everything else that we have. And I'm excited now to expand beyond that. And that means TVL, that means restaking protocols, that might mean all of the other things that people are familiar with on other chains. That's kind of what we are aiming for. But, it could take time to get there too. But, of course, when we do end up going there, we launch with some pretty big partners. That's what I'm excited about.
Alex, you've shared a lot about your plans with gaming, the gaming ecosystem, and how you want this to evolve. I know you also have some strategic initiatives there, like the Forge program. Can you tell us a bit more about it?
Yeah, I mean, Ronin Forge is one of the ways that we want to grow the pie and actually, work more with gaming partners who are a little bit different than what we've done before. So we have a couple of programs within Sky Mavis. We have direct publishing where we might make a larger investment into a game studio and then we build closely with them. They get access to all the tools and services that we have, and also direct connections with the founding team of Sky Mavis. And that's been tremendously popular. Pixels is a part of that. And now we launched Ronin Forge, which is more of a lightweight program for that. So that more teams can get access to the tools and the services that we have and some of the insights that we have about building like really solid, economies, for example, how to build a great community. And then also, of course, they get access to building on Ronin. And that's a little bit of a different one. So, we might make a smaller investments, but it's a way for Sky Mavis to give more of a stamp of approval to the community that, we've done some initial DD here. This is safer. So it's a way for us to open up Ronin progressively while still having some skin in the game to make sure that these studios are operating at a very high level. And at the same time as we did Ronin Forge, we also had another massive update to the Ronin wallet, which is called Ronin Waypoint. In short, what it does is it now enables users to very seamlessly create their own non-custodial wallets just by using email. And that can even happen within the game inside, a Unity type of game and Real type of game. You just very simply log in. Any sort of normal player will do that. A wallet is created on the back end. They can start playing, they can get some assets, they can then trade from there because there are gasless ways, or there are gas sponsorships that the game developer can do while they work with us. So we have some very unique innovations through Ronin Waypoints. And maybe most interesting, we can also provide this service for Telegram. And I think that's particularly cool when you think about the opportunities to capture even more distribution, because obviously Telegram is a great distribution platform. We might provide some services to those players using Ronin Waypoint and the Ronin wallet. So those are some summaries there.
Awesome. Both great advancements, and great to see that the results from these initiatives. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Well, I know I posted a lot for the alpha, but I'm glad you were able to share some bits and pieces. And I'm even more excited to be working with you on this, on making this a reality. It might take some time, yes, but we're here for the long term as well.
Yeah, same for us. I'm super excited about it. To everyone who's hanging out at SmartCon, I think this might be the second time I'm speaking here, but really excited to be working with Chainlink on this. So have a good one.
Awesome. See you, Alex. Thank you.